Kato on the track, beer.
What's going on, everybody? Back again with a beat tutorial. I told y'all in 2017 I was coming back with I'm coming back with these beat tutorials, trying to give y'all just some more insight into my production world and see how I put these beats together. So today I thought I would start with a beat that I'm actually leasing in my Nasty Tracks beat store right now. So if you go to nastytracks.com, it's a beat titled Panama, which has gotten a lot of good feedback from y'all. So I guess you like it. It was highly requested. So I thought I'd start here. It is a super simple beat. Really only uses 3 instruments plus the percussion and the drums. So total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instruments. 5 instruments total, and that's the whole beat. So, for anyone that's familiar with my production, I try to do as much as possible with as little as possible. That's kind of my philosophy behind my approach to making beats. And this is a prime example of it. So I thought I would give y'all a quick breakdown of it. Now, when I sat down to make this beat, I did have a particular artist in mind, and that artist is Russ Diemon. I think that's how you say his last name. I'm not 100% sure, so you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, I had Russ in mind. I'm a fan of his music and his production, so I wanted to make something super simple, very open, but my signature knock-in drums. But honestly, I can hear a lot of different artists on this beat, not just Russ. I'm curious to see who y'all hear on it. Just let me know in the comments. But yeah, so we'll start with this beat. And the first instrument that I really started this track with was this is Reason 9, by the way. So shout out to all my Reason users that always and everyone, all the producers that always ask what I use. This is Reason 9. I started with this instrument right here. It's a Combinator preset called Away We Go. And it's really just a Rhodes keys. Pretty standard. And it's really only 2 chords. So if we take a look here, it starts off with these chords. So a cool little thing that I did with this is that I just added a little pitch bend at the end of the first chord. So you'll hear it goes up at the end, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Added a little variation on the last chord of each phrase. So nothing too crazy. Added a little compression. This is the C670 compressor, which you can purchase in the Propellerhead website/store. Kind of shortened the stereo width so it's not as stereo. Added a little bit of reverb. What else did I do? No EQing really. And then I added a high pass, low pass filter, shaved off a good amount of the low end, and some of the high end as well, just to make it sound a little bit warmer, a little darker, not too bright. And again, some compression. Okay, so the second instrument, which is one of my favorite new instruments, it's kind of like my go-to instrument these days, is called Boards of Panama. and it's part of the FM4 synthesizer, which is also a instrument that you can purchase at the Propellerhead store. And it just has a really, really cool texture and sound to it, man. I'm a huge fan of this. I feel like I've used this in the last, like, at least several beats that I've made. I've used this sound. But just a really cool sound to it. I mean, it really does truly sound like, a horn that you would hear from a guy just playing on the street corner in Panama. You know, it's got that really cool kind of natural texture to it, and so I thought it would go well with the road sound. And just a little tip for my Reason users, I did apply a little groove to it, actually kind of a lot of groove, but this kind of just slides the notes. It kind of just emulates playing the notes without quantization. Did I say that right? Quantization? Without quantizing it. So, this is another way of doing it within Reason. You just apply a groove. This slides the notes a little bit later. And then the shuffle just adds a cool little groove to it, not so robotic. So just a little tip. I did that with the Boards of Panama instrument. And so let's go to the last instrument, which mostly just comes in during the chorus of the beat. It's called Old Memories. Again, part of the FM4 synthesizer instrument. And just very, very simple, kind of subtle. Just 2 notes. That's all it is. But again, has a really cool texture and kind of matches the vibe of the other 2 instruments, which is why I chose it. And I just felt like it fit all 3 of these instruments fit very well with each other, which is super important to me, man. That's one of the biggest tips that I can give you when you're making your beats is sound selection. Just picking the right sounds, making sure everything sounds like that they go together and they match. So I didn't want to choose any sounds that were too stock sounding or plasticky. I wanted everything to have a really cool kind of unique texture to it. And most importantly, just kind of match the vibe that I was going for. So putting these 3 instruments together. And that alone just sounds very dope. Sorry, that was Callie in the background. Those 3 instruments alone just sounds really dope, lays the foundation for the whole vibe of the track. And then the last part was just to add the drums and the percussion. So really for the percussion, it was just four instruments, 4 drum sounds. And to me, the drums kind of like the icing on the cake. It really kind of sets the whole groove of the track. So again, it goes back to sound selection. I wanted to choose drum sounds that match with the whole vibe of the track. Didn't want my drums to sound super, super bright. A little bit darker. And the snare is almost like a boom bap snare, which in this tempo, 116, is pretty standard for a lot of like trap beats, but I didn't want this beat necessarily to have a trap feel. So I wanted to choose drums that sounded very warm and almost boom bappy, but still in the trap tempo. So here's my hi-hat pattern. I still have that little hi-hat roll in there. Where is it? Here it is. So it still took elements from trap beats, but didn't want to completely just trap it out, you know. So let's go to the kick pattern. So the kick is super punchy, really punches through the mix. And then I have two like kind of 808 sounds. Callie's upset about something. Two 808 notes that hit on certain notes in the kick pattern. So you know, I didn't want to have like an 808 kick throughout the whole track. I felt like that would be too trappy. So just hitting on certain notes, I felt like was just enough to kind of give it that signature Kato sound. Yeah, let's see what we did in terms of the mix here. I used a high pass low pass filter on both the kick and the 808s to and cut anything below 58.9 hertz, and then with the low pass filter cut anything above 1.56 kilohertz. A little bit of compression, not too much, and just to add, you know, a little bit of thump to it. Just a little boost around 200 hertz and a little boost around 77 hertz. And typically you'll see here that my stereo width is 0. With my kind of lower frequency sounds like my kick and my 808s, I like to have it centered. I don't like to have too much stereo width on those instruments. So it can just leave room for the other instruments that I can pan wide. So just something that I like to do personally. And so when you put the percussion together, so that was pretty much it, guys. I mean, it's, you know, like I said, this beat is definitely pretty simple. In terms of sound effects, just a little bit of reverb on the old memories. Where is it? Just a little bit of reverb on this instrument. And just for demonstration purposes, I'll kind of accentuate. So that was super dry. The drums are completely dry, no reverb at all, which I felt like fit for this particular track. And just a tiny bit of reverb on the Rhodes. And you can hear it does have a little delay on it, which is right here. Just a tiny bit of delay to give it some space. And the Boards of Panama reverb was a different type of reverb. It kind of emulates like a smaller smaller space, not as big, not as wide. So it really does sound like it's in a room. But just enough to give it some sort of space in the mix. So yeah, that was pretty much it. You know, as far as the arrangement, the arrangement's pretty simple. I wanted to definitely arrange it in a song format so that when an artist hears it, they can hear what parts are coming in, what parts they should write the verse and the chorus to. I always feel like that helps with just the whole creative process when you're working with an artist, so that they know where to write, and it just makes their job a little bit easier, which makes my job easier. So that was it. If you guys have any questions about this beat, please feel free to post it in the comments. Let me know what you thought about the video. If you guys have any requests for other beats or tracks that I've produced, whether they're on Nasty Tracks or whether they're already out there, please let me know. So yeah, I will talk to y'all soon, and drop me a comment, leave me some love. Peace.